The former vice president and 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party takes to the podium to address journalists on the latest in his quest to validate the documents submitted to INEC by President Bola Tinubu.
Your Excellencies,
Mr. Abubakar is in this news conference with some PDP chieftains.
The people look up to us as leaders.
The former vice president speaks on his relationship with President Tinubu and when things fell apart.
Yes, it is true. In 2007, we came together to form APC. And in Lagos, at the convention, I emerged as the winner and got the ticket. After I got the ticket, he sent about 5 or 6 senior partymen, some of them are here. And they met me and said to me that Bola wanted to be my running mate. I said, gentlemen, what would be your reaction to have a Muslim ticket? All of them said, we totally object to it. I said, then why didn't you tell him when he was giving you the message that, look, Mr. Tinubu, the message you are giving us, we don't seem to agree with you. Why are you coming then to me? And that was the end of the political relationship. He broke away, went and supported Umaru Yar'Adua.
Mr. Abubakar also underscores his determination to confirm the authenticity of the certificates of President Tinubu.
We undertook this journey at great cost and for important reasons. The ground rules for legitimate governance in our country need to be upheld. I will only drop the fight when the court rules. If the court rules that I am right, fine. If the court rules that he is right, so that's the end of the fight.
Meanwhile, counsel to the former vice president highlights the party's findings from the documents received from the Chicago State University.
On the certificates issued or released by Chicago State University to the lawyers of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. These are the documents. 1, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu forged the certificate he presented to INEC. That's 1. 2, that the qualifying certificate from Southwest College to Chicago State University bears a female, indicating that that document does not belong to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. 3, the Chicago State University admission application form has a claim that Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended Government College, Lagos, and graduated in 1970, when indeed the school was established in 1974.
The PDP 2023 presidential candidate is challenging the election of President Tinubu at the Supreme Court. He hopes to use his latest findings to make a case at the Apex Court.
Well, yes, those two gentlemen join us here today. They are both lawyers, and Silas Ono is a member of the PDP, while Jesutega Onapasa is a member of the APC. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Morning, Chamberlain. Good morning, Magba.
Good morning.
Okay, many already know the bone of contention, but yes, we also do know that the allegation of forgery was one of those issues dismissed by the Presidential Election Court in the suit filed by Atiku Abubakar challenging the election of President Tinubu. Now, a part of what the PDP's candidate is relying on will be this grounds for disqualification, section 137, which says, 1, a person shall not be qualified for election to the office of the president if, it goes all the way down to J, where he says he has presented a forged certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission. That's part of what they're hoping will be granted them by the Supreme Court, which the candidate says it is only if and when the Supreme Court does give that verdict, whatever happens, he will move on from there. So, Mr. Ono, let's start with you. Many think that the party is making a mountain out of a molehill. That's what some members of the APC think on this matter.
Well, what else will you expect from APC? Doing their best to secure their loot. So you won't blame them if they try to trivialize such an important issue or try to reverse the truth. I've read so many stories, especially from their media outlets like The Nation, that reports completely opposite reality of what has happened in this deposition. Like this morning when I came, I saw on your TV where they said alleged forgery. It's no longer alleged. It's been proven.
By who?
By the school. The issuer of certificate is the only person that can tell you if they actually issued it or not. And in the deposition, you could hear them say, we didn't issue this diploma. And clearly denied it because there were different diplomas, and they said the one given to INEC didn't emanate from us. What else do we need? It's been established.
That is part of what your party intends to take to the Supreme Court to see if the Supreme Court will validate that.
It's just
so at the moment.
People keep saying new evidence, new evidence. It's not new evidence. These issues were before the Court of Appeal during the trial. It was before the Court of Appeal. But the certificate, but the court said they were not specifically pleaded. And it's part of what we're also appealing to the Supreme Court. So it's not necessarily a new issue. It's part of the appeal to the Supreme Court. This is to say, consider this position of the Court of Appeal, especially now that we have confirmed beyond doubt that the certificate presented to INEC is forged. And the Supreme Court, mind you, is not necessarily just a court of law. We keep hearing them, people come and say, Supreme Court is a policy court. It's a policy court. Will it be a proper public policy to have a president of a nation without legitimacy?
But don't forget,
will it be proper public policy?
What you also need to let the viewers know is that lawyers have got to go to court. When they get there, they've got to argue their case and prove their case.
Yes.
So it's not being taken for granted that their case has already been proven.
The case was before the tribunal.
No, I'm talking about when you get to the Supreme Court now. They will still argue the cases.
No. We'll do that. We'll do all of that. But mind you, that is what is called judicial notice. Courts are allowed, judges are allowed to take judicial notice. This is beyond anything that the court will say they haven't noticed. This story is global. It is global. They cannot say we haven't noticed it.
All right.
That the university have denied issuing this diploma to this man. You see, people keep mixing up the issue. Whether President Tinubu went to CSU or not is not the issue. If you like, he should graduate with first class. That is his own history or his story to tell. And it can be correct that he actually went. But why did he not present the diploma, the certificate that was actually given to him when he graduated? Why will he go and print his own?
So,
That's forgery.
I've seen you giggling along the lines. It comes across as though you don't consider those matters serious enough.
Because I've never seen gaslighting like my learned colleague is entertaining Nigerians with this money. You see, this entire supposed saga is truly sad. And it's sad because it is so entirely nonsensical. You have a bunch of people who lost an election, Chamberlain. Lost an election. And their principal, in fact, I don't know what is fundamentally Atiku Abubakar's problem right now, but it's a serious problem. One, I think, that borders, that even verges on what is clinically significant. He should seek help, you know. And then he believes he can gaslight everybody.
Well, he's going to Supreme Court.
I'm coming. No, he says there is a case of forgery. You know what I think you guys should do? Yesterday, I was watching my colleagues at the campaign council at another station, and then Charles Anyangulu was asking him, Otumba Ajiboye was telling him that this same soundbite that Silas just repeated, that there was a case of forgery, that the CSU repudiated or denied the certificate. And what you people have not done is just ask all these people, including him now, tell him to read exactly where Caleb Wellsberg, do you understand? He referred to any document that Bola Tinubu had purportedly submitted anywhere as forged. Jesus Christ. Nothing like that. In the entire deposition, not one. Now, when he says Bola Tinubu forged, he's been judge, jury, and executioner. Right here on the television studio. He has already decided the case for the Supreme Court. He says, does he have a document, this so-called document that he claims Bola Tinubu forged? Does he have it?
But could you read what you refer to as him? Because we'll ask him to read his as well. So do you want to read?
I don't have to. I'm a lawyer. I don't do this shenanigans. No. We are serious people. You see, there was this fellow in this clip.
But you just asked him, to refer to certain material.
Yeah, so no, I said you should ask him. He's the one that said it. I don't have to do anything. If he says, he who alleges should prove. If he says that CSU, in their deposition, that they refer to anything remotely related to President Tinubu as forged, that even if, do you know what CSU did in their deposition? They said, and this is simple English language, Shambali, this English language, Malcolm. They said we are unable to authenticate that which is not before us. They said that their diplomas.
Let him be reading from there, not they said.
Their diplomas. You don't tell me what to do. You are the one that made an allegation.
Just stand by yours. You read it.
Don't interrupt me. I did not interrupt you. Please don't do that. Don't do that.
You read yours.
Don't. Now, they said that their diplomas are ceremonial documents. Do you know what that means? For CSU, a diploma is no different from an academic gown. That they are in their system. What is germane are transcripts. And everybody who has ever been to America, who studied there, knows this. So what Atiku went on this fishing expedition, hoping that he was going to, I don't know, I really don't know. Maybe he has too much money. But he went there, hoping for something, like your colleague over there in Arise, Ruben Abati said the other day, there was no smoking gun. Then he has come back empty-handed. That's the truth.
Well, that's what you think. That's your perspective.
That's what I know.
That's not what the PDP thinks on the matter. Let him read the part that you want to read now.
I like to face the issue. If you notice, when I knew he was sitting here, but I never addressed him because it was necessary. wasn't necessary. So I'll go straight to the issue. Now, in the deposition, there was a question. I will rephrase it. So CSU did not issue the INEC diploma to President Tinubu in 1979. Then the lawyer, objection, asked and answered. The witness now answered, not in 1979. That's the witness. Another question, and did not issue a diploma dated June 27, 1979 to Mr. Tinubu in 1979? Answer, correct. What did he say? Which other certificate are we talking about? Apart from the one dated June 27, 1979. And the university said it didn't issue it. So what else is forgery?
Gentlemen.
Do you need the entire judiciary in Nigeria to tell you this is forgery, or just because you're trying to protect interests or your place in a party, you come to national TV and embarrass yourself, lying to the nation? What is that?
Okay, I think that as much as possible, because it looks like, you know, it will now depend on who it is that you ask, you know, and what they eventually, everybody will see what it is that they want to see in this matter. It's beginning to look like an elephant, depending on which side you touch. Yeah, an elephant being touched by blind men. That's what it will seem, and everybody will interpret it how it is that it suits their own side or the narrative that they are trying to push. But what I would like us to look at are some of the matters that are before us. I mean, some of the impressions that have been created out there. Before now, the questions, this entire certificate saga, whether or not we accept it, raised deep questions about whether or not the person who has been declared elected as president of Nigeria went to the school which he claimed that he went to. Isn't that correct? You'll agree with that?
But that was not the issue here.
Just a moment. Yeah. You agree with that?
Yeah.
So that has been cleared, that indeed he was a student of that particular school. What is in contention right now is the certificate which was, you know, presented, you know, to INEC by this particular candidate. So let me start with you, Mr. Jesutega Onokwasa. For a matter so basic, for a matter so straightforward, you know, whether or not somebody went to school and was issued a certificate, why do you think that this air has hung over the president since he was governor of Lagos State? Why hasn't he taken the pains to clarify all of the issues that have been raised about his person, his names, and the certificate? More importantly, or most importantly, because this matter borders on the Constitution, why do you think he hasn't taken the time to clarify this to all Nigerians, if this was as straightforward as it seemed?
First of all, I would have to object that there is anything murky, even remotely murky, about President Tinubu's credentials, qualification. You see, these things are about law. Now, when Tinubu was governor of Lagos, he said, I graduated from Chicago State University, CSU. CSU agreed, confirmed that. Now, when he came back to run, and remember that since Tinubu was governor, he's not contested for any position until now. When he contested and won again.
It wasn't just CSU, sir. I think there was also a Toronto saga as well attached to that.
No, there
were a number of certificate issues, and I think the only one which was able to stand.
Toronto was Salisu Buhari. You're mixing things up.
Yes.
That was Senator Afikoyomi's mistake. That was cleared.
Okay.
Now, right now, Bola Tinubu submitted his qualification to run for president is degree from CSU. Okay? Now, see, what has CSU done? CSU was deposed. A deposition is a confrontational event. You understand? You need to be present at one. Now, no matter what the questions Atiku's counsel was rigmaroling around, CSU, not for even a second, they did not deny President Tinubu. He's our alumnus.
Okay, we need to go to break soon, but before we do, but if part of what people will glean from that too is because his counsel, President Tinubu, argued they were doing all within their powers not to have these documents released. Is that right?
Because that is just what lawyers do. If you listen, that is what we do. Unless you are not you are not fit to be a lawyer. Now, if you, Chambali, if you,
hide documents.
If you, nobody's talking about
to hide their information.
Will you please tell him?
I don't do that.
We're going to break soon.
Now, if you, Chambali, and your son have a dispute, and it is your son I'm representing, and you have been paying school fees for your son, and you say you want his records, it is automatic. I am going to try to block access as much as possible.
I hear you. But part of the question is that since there isn't any big deal to this, as you say, and party members say, why didn't he just say, look, there's no big deal to this. Documents, please release this documents.
I think left to Tinubu himself, to President Tinubu himself. Look, Tinubu will front load everything to you. Why publish it.
So what happened?
Because he has lawyers. That's just what we do.
Who told him to do otherwise?
No, excuse me, if I'm representing you, I'm in charge of your case.
Yeah, so I can't tell you, no, I don't want this, release my documents.
Regardless of the impression that it creates out there in the public.
That is my competence as a lawyer. That is just how our profession is. Not because
they have to make money?
Profession. Is it?
Trained like that.
That is a lawyer is in charge.
We'll get both of you to respond to this. Don't worry. Well, we'll come back to this in just a moment. Don't go away. All right, welcome, Mr. Onokbasa. Conclude your thoughts before Mr. Ono comes in.
Okay, so this entire certificate so-called issue is a storm in a teacup. It's a total non-issue. What is germane is whether President Tinubu graduated from CSU or not. That has been established. Now, if somebody says that President Tinubu,
but that was not what the counsel for the PDP candidate was seeking in court, was it?
What was he seeking? I'm not in PDP. I'm not his.
What was he seeking in court? You have said, okay, it has been established that he went to CSU. The question I asked you was, why it was so difficult for the president to just address the issue.
It was not difficult.
Why it was so difficult to be transparent on the matter. Isn't it because of these other issues which the PDP has raised? The allegation that, the certificate which he gave to INEC, which has now become an issue, doesn't look like something that the school itself identifies. I'm choosing my words very carefully. Isn't it because the qualifying certificate which he used to get into the school has that of a female? has the sex as a female. Isn't it because just a moment?
That was a typographical error.
Just a moment. Isn't it because the claim that the president made that he attended Government College Lagos, and graduated in 1970. Meanwhile, the school was established in 1974. Was also going to come to the fore. I think there's the reasons, or some of the reasons, why it has been very difficult for the president to address a simple matter such as, I went to school.
Absolutely not. President Tinubu has robustly, sufficiently, exhaustively addressed the issue of his education.
Where?
Oh, throughout his career. I'm a graduate of CSU. These things are a question of law. You say these inanities of government college or primary school or
you
Southwest.
You call them inanities.
They are irrelevant in law. Seriously, they are not in issue. They are certainly not in issue in the petition at the Court of Appeal. They are non-issues, total non-issues. These people are trying to, it's like someone trying to shift the goalpost.
Okay.
We are lawyers, for God's sake.
So you are a lawyer, and agreed you're a lawyer. But if you were to just listen to somebody, part of the issues that people need to take into cognizance, that we're not just dealing with lawyers or law or legality. We're dealing with the whole of society. We're dealing with morality. We're dealing with the building blocks. We're dealing with values. If somebody says, I went to a particular school, which was not established at the time that he said he went to that school, would you believe anything else the person says?
I dispute the allegation that there's anything before us right now that is indisputable that Bola Tinubu has made any misrepresentations about his educational career.
We'll see how this matters.
The most important thing, you see, is that the qualification is submitted to INEC is that he's a graduate of Chicago State University. That has been affirmed by Chicago State University. The case is closed.
Okay. I thought you said they said they couldn't authenticate what was not before them.
Who?
The CSU.
That is the diploma that they are having.
Okay.
They are
let me quickly come to Mr. Ono.
They released.
Don't worry, the nation
I know that my colleagues are trying to quickly get a question in, but let me come to you, Mr. Ono. And then some people will say that this perhaps is a problem of where we are. When you talk about forgery, it is that you did not claim, you did not get what it is that you said you got, or you did not do what it is that, because what people say is that what a certificate is meant to do is to certify that you actually did something. If you went to school, a certificate confirms that you went to school. If you're a lawyer, whatever it is you're given, confirms. Yes. So if this is about the president education, I mean, aren't we really dwelling on a trivial matter?
Now, I'm a graduate of the University of Jos. When I graduated, I was given my degree certificate. Let's assume that I lost that certificate. If I go to an Oluwole center and print a new one with a sample of what I had, right? And carry the Vice Chancellor's signature and put on that document, carry the registrar's signature, put on that document, and print it out and present, it's a forgery, even though I earned that degree. But that one that I've presented to INEC is a forgery. It's a forged version because these people did not actually sign on this one. I carried their signature and put on a document. That is a forgery. Now, this case where His Excellency Atiku Abubakar has never been about Tinubu attending CSU or not. It's been about the certificate he gave to INEC. Was it the one given to him by CSU? No. Now, if we go to his attending CSU, is a completely different thing because, like he said, the university have said is an error. Female. CSU cannot authenticate that. They clearly said they can't authenticate that because that is not their certificate. It is from Southwest College. It's not CSU. It's a qualifying document he used to obtain admission in CSU that has female, not CSU document. Now, how they have their own explanation. I'm sure investigation will open up in the US. How they will admit someone who himself brought a document of himself with female on it is still curious. Let's presume that they do not know about Government College Lagos not being in existence. And there was an Oluwole certificate that he used to obtain that one. Let's presume they didn't know. But clearly, the Southwest College results that he tendered to them or presented to them belong to a female. Only Southwest College can come and tell us we made an error, not CSU. CSU said they can't verify or deny. When they asked them, are you sure this Bola Tinubu that graduated here is the same as the one who is president? They insisted yes. When they were presented with this fact of being female, they said they can neither confirm nor verify. They started shifting.
Do you think that this actually has a problem? You know, it also speaks to why we have a craze for certificates in Nigeria. This is maybe away from the issue, but some people will say that that's basically why, you know, a lot of people just want to get certificates and not really get the knowledge.
If certificate is not important, it will not be mentioned in the Constitution. You shouldn't present a forged one. It is specifically mentioned. It's a constitutional matter. It is important. That is simply the point. If it wasn't mentioned, there wouldn't have been any need. In fact, he had no need to tender this certificate. He should have just brought his WAEC and tender and give to INEC. If you look at his governorship document when he ran for governor, the affidavit, he said he attended University of Chicago, 1977, I mean 1975 to 1977, and then Chicago State University 1977 to 1979. University of Chicago have denied knowing him. So that is how Southwest College now came in. So if you go to his record, there is nothing about University of Chicago. They've denied knowing this man.
Our colleagues in Lagos have got questions for both of you.
Let me start with you, Mr. Salas Ono. Thank you, Chamberlain. The explanation given by your presidential candidate about, you know, him denying, betraying the president, whichever way you look at it, he has approached CSU for the release of this document after the elections have been fought and won. And, you know, even after the appeal court has made a ruling on the election. So it would seem as if there's more to this than just a decision, you know, to prove that indeed there are big question marks on the president's academic records. How do you explain this?
Now, this is the Nigerian thing. When someone tries to do the right thing, they say about Bele. That's the Nigerian thing. Atiku Abubakar should be commended for digging deep, for trying to even help Mr. Tinubu, who didn't come out clear on his certificate issue. This is putting the matter to rest, and that was why he said, Chief Gani Fayemi can now rest in peace, because he exposed this issue at a time people were not too interested in it because it was just about Lagos State. So to say Atiku betrayed Tinubu will be just playing the normal lazy Nigerian behavior of saying, I just leave him now. What is in this thing? What is betrayal? Atiku is fighting for Nigeria. Tinubu is not Nigeria. Tinubu is not above Nigeria. Tinubu cannot submit a forged document and then we'll come and applaud him and clap for him. When a young girl as Mesoma in Anambra was caught as having changed the figures in her JAM result, what happened? Even the little scholarship she got were withdrawn or cancelled. DSS were moving her from place to place. She was writing statements up and down. And then the one who forged to be president of Nigeria, we should clap for him? What moral standard are we setting as a nation? Are we a nation of shameless people?
But Mr.
Nigerians should applaud Atiku for.
But Mr. Ono, much more than political.
Someone in APC coming to say he was betrayed.
But Mr. Ono, much more than.
What do you expect APC people to say? When they have nothing to say, they will say you have betrayed us. Who are they that should not be betrayed? They betrayed Nigeria by allowing their candidate to present a forged document. That is a nation. They betrayed this nation.
But Mr. Ono,
so this issue should not even be asked again, please.
Mr. Ono, much more than political associates and business associates, they're friends. They're longtime friends, in fact. I wonder if you're aware of that.
Let's speak to that. That's their personal issue. They can answer that one. I do not know if they are friends. I know politics bring people together every now and then. It doesn't make them friends. They may share an interest at the same time. At another time, they have different interests. But that doesn't make them friends.
Let me come to you now, Mr. Jesutega. Beyond the explanation by the party that, you know, what the lawyers of Mr. President did is statutory. And in fact, the president's lawyer on our sister program yesterday quoted the family rights protection law, you know, that obtains in the US, which is to protect the privacy of an individual. It would seem that there's something much more important than the need to protect the privacy of the president, and which, you know, my colleagues have rightly quoted about the long-standing issue of the president's academic records from 1999. So wouldn't it that being more important for the party and indeed the presidency, you know, to clarify this once and for all and look beyond the right of privacy, and put the record straight for Nigerians to know what exactly, is the nature of the president's academic records?
You see, there is nothing to be clarified. This is a controversy that was entirely manufactured by Atiku Abubakar because of his desperation to be president of Nigeria by hook or by crook. What is there to be clarified? That is a graduate of CSU. CSU says yes. That he does not have a CSU diploma, he has one. CSU says that diplomas are ceremonial documents. In fact, CSU basically says they can neither avow or disavow their diplomas. They don't keep copies of their diplomas. If somebody shows up with a CSU diploma and you doubt the diploma, what you do, you go to CSU, you write to them, this person, is he entitled to a diploma from your university? And they tell you yes or no. That ends the matter. These people, something that is actually even a pre-election matter, that is what, I don't even know how Atiku hopes to present this is phantom forgery case. Assuming without considering that there was a forgery, there is nothing by the way, there's nothing before us that even remotely indicates that there was any forgery. So this whole tales by moonlight of a forged document, Chicago State University said this, is utter nonsense. It's gaslighting.
And that brings me to the next question. Mr. Jason Tega.
I have to explain this, please.
Okay.
Assuming without conceding that even there was a forgery, what do they want the Supreme Court to do? To convert itself into a trial court? And then are they going to subpoena Chicago State University to come to the Supreme Court of Nigeria and then to say, oh, we made this document, we didn't make this document? I mean, you have to be, this thing is it is a celebration of ignorance and incompetence. That is just what it is. It's just, there's just something about the presidency of Nigeria that Atiku Abubakar is obsessed with, and he can't let go. If he can burn down the entire country and that gets him closer to Aso Rock, so be it. That is what.
On the matter
this is a storm in a teacup. It is entirely contrived.
Pardon me if I may come in there. On the matter of forgery, Mr. Jason Tega, how tenable is CSU's position that they cannot authenticate what is before them? If indeed that had been issued in the past, can't the CSU authenticate what had been issued in the past? I mean, in the case of Mesoma versus JAM, JAM was able to say that this was the template that was issued in the past, but we have since changed the features of, the certificate that we issue to our students. So how tenable is the CSU's position that it cannot authenticate what is not before them? It should be able to say that, okay, this was what was issued in the past, but we no longer use this template. Shouldn't that be the case?
Yes, yes, unless there's a problem of use of English here, inadequacies in understanding English language, how can there be a problem with someone saying, I cannot authenticate that which is not before me? That is exactly what the person should say. The person should authenticate that which is not before them. I don't know what you had for breakfast. I simply don't know. I cannot say it. Why would I then, how can that then be something that casts aspersion on you? So if CSU says that they cannot authenticate that which is before them, that is to be expected. Now, you cannot, however, you cannot use it negatively. You cannot say, because somebody says they cannot authenticate something, therefore they have disavowed it. That's not how it works, for God's sake.
Let me quickly ask a question. Well,
it is either you say,
we're running out of time.
Excuse me, you say...
Yeah. My apologies, we are running out of time. But let me just ask you both gentlemen.
If you make a positive statement...
Sorry, just a second. You'll be able to respond to this as well, I hope. But let me come to Mr. Ono first of all. Just one question for the two of you. Now, where we are right now, the relevance of this whole conversation goes back to whether or not it will be admissible at the Supreme Court. So, Mr. Ono, on the one hand, you want to confirm to us whether or not this certificate issue was part of the prayers of the former vice president in the election of 2023. And if you say it is, do you think that this Supreme Court will admit this as relevant evidence, given that what you all have been telling us over time, that the Supreme Court doesn't usually accept new evidence unless it is extremely critical?
Thank you very much, Makinde. First of all, let me start by saying I am worried because I have heard his last line. I've heard it from other places where you hear them say, even if it is forged, what can you do now? It's late. Meaning, we forged it and you can't do anything. So it is a way of saying we can have an illegitimate precedent and there's nothing you can do. Now, sadly for them, the Supreme Court can even take fresh evidence where the circumstances permits and you meet the criteria the court has laid down for making such an application. They can take it. But in this case, like I said earlier, the issue of qualification and the issue of his certificate was an issue at the court of first instance. In fact, they joined issue. They also presented the same certificate. His own team presented the same certificate, which the CSU, now that they said they can't authenticate, the CSU clearly said this certificate he presented, that design was only used in the 1990s. They didn't use them in the 1970s. And they didn't issue him certificate in the 1990s. And when asked, how can people forge this thing? The person say, yes, you can Google it. The registrar says you can Google it and you see the certificates online. All right, that is what we believe this man did. Googled and just put his name.
Okay, Mr. Onu, let me ask you.
So the issue of forgery has been established. There is nothing like President Tinubu coming to clarify the issue again. It has been established. It doesn't need to clarify.
But
they like that
angle Mr. Onu, we're running out of time. Mr. Onokwasa, let me quickly ask Mr. Onokwasa, if you don't mind. Yeah, Mr. Onokwasa, to the same question, but you may respond your own way. Do you think that the Supreme Court will accept this as this new evidence, because we have been told quite a few times that unless it is critical, that the Supreme Court does not usually admit new evidence? Do you think this new, many people say critical evidence, is admissible or is likely to be admitted by the Supreme Court?
Okay, very short answer to that. First of all, election matters are sui generis. So it is not the normal procedure, the normal rules that apply to them. It is the Electoral Act. And there's no room for introducing new evidence in election matters. So that already takes care of that. However, I will have to push back on this narrative. For instance, your question, the way you constructed it, Makinde, is that will the Supreme Court accept this new evidence? Which new evidence? There's no new evidence. Makinde, none. Which evidence? Where is this evidence? Where is the smoking gun? There is no evidence, for God's sake. This thing is just pure gaslighting. I've never seen a case like this in my life. So support, there is even no evidence to be admitted or rejected. There is none, simple.
Gentlemen, let's wind down on this. Mr. Onokwasa, could you just explain to us, many want to know, what caused Mr. Festus Keyamo SAN to go to court in, cited in that Keyamo versus House of Assembly, Lagos State, 2002-18 Nigerian Weekly Law Report, Part 799?
I am very, very sure, Shabali, that you have Festus Keyamo's number. I call him and ask him, that question. I'm not, Festus Keyamo is my colleague. It's my friend.
You've told us several times what lawyers do.
Yes, but
you're a member of the party.
I'm not his lawyer.
You have an understanding of what's going on. I'm not in the party, so how would I know?
See, let's be fair to each other. That thing happened a long time ago. I think Festus will be in the best position
But your lawyer, you also understand what transpired. Nothing wrong in you helping us
don't recall.
understand.
Seriously, I don't recall. I just know that professors will be in the best position to answer your question.
It wasn't related to this certificate matter as well? This same certificate issue?
I wouldn't know. Seriously. I have not discussed that with professors. I'm satisfied that my president graduated from Chicago State University, because Chicago State University said that. I'm satisfied that my president met, in fact, surpassed the minimum requirements to run for office, and that I am satisfied that my president was duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Are you satisfied
what I want
presented
to know,
the forged certificate?
Yeah, so for me, I want to ask you, I mean, because I think right now what is at stake is this issue of forgery. Do you agree with Mr. Ono, who, may give an example to say if he went to the University of Jos, graduated duly and fully, maybe even with a first class, and, loses his certificate for whatever reason, and goes to make another one by himself, and presents that as his certificate, would you agree with him when he says that's a case of forgery?
I went to the University of Lagos. Now, our system, for instance, I don't know whether my transcripts were ever sent to the Nigerian Law School. What law students generally get their degrees before any other students, because they need the certificates for admission to the law school. You understand me? That is our system here in Nigeria. That's not the American system. In America, it is transcripts.
That's not what I have asked you, sir. What I've asked is the issue.
The context does not arise, Mark.
No, this is our context.
Yes, but it is not.
Just a moment.
Does not have a Nigerian degree.
Just a moment.
She's not talking about you.
The issue, exactly, I haven't even mentioned the president. I'm giving a totally different scenario. In Nigeria, apparently, certificates are very important to us.
Yes.
It is mentioned right here in our constitution.
Yes, but it is not
just a moment.
Degree.
I'm not disputing that. Yeah. What I'm saying is, do you agree with his example that even if you went to the best of schools here in Nigeria, duly graduated, you finish in the first class, you lose your certificate or whatever happened to your certificate, you might even still have the original in a safe somewhere, but for whatever reason, you decide to present one that is not exactly the one issued by the school, would you say that is a case of forgery?
No. On what basis? It is, first of all, excuse me, it is irrelevant. Because you are juxtaposing two totally different. He is trying to pretend that a Chicago State University diploma is the same as a University of Lagos certificate. It is not the same. That's not this school. For instance,
answer the one for University of Lagos.
You are not asking me questions, please. Come on, don't be ridiculous. Now, the University of Lagos, for instance, will never tell you that their degrees are ceremonial. It's not possible. The University of Lagos will tell you that their degrees are not ceremonial. You understand? They will even tell you that the degrees are legal documents. But in America, they will tell you that their diplomas are ceremonial. So the two systems are different.
Basically.
The University of Lagos does not give its degrees to third parties to print for them.
Because it's ceremonial,
they print the degrees themselves. You understand me?
So this is our context here. I mean, this is Nigeria. Our constitution requires you to present a certificate, a school certificate, or its equivalent. That is this Nigerian system.
Yes,
I am saying that if you present something that is not from a particular school, duly issued by that school, and you present something else, this is not even, has nothing to do with the president.
It is not our place.
Has nothing to do with the president. I'm saying, would you admit that is a case of forgery?
I won't. I'm a lawyer. Listen, this is how it works. It is.
We're wrapping up soon.
This is how it works. It is the institution that is empowered by the constitution itself, the law, to determine whether someone has qualified to run for office or a particular office or not is INEC.
All right.
Now, if you are disputing it, you take INEC, you raise it with INEC. Right. Otherwise, because there's a presumption of regularity. If INEC says that they believe that Maokbe is qualified to run for office, That's the end of it.
All right, Mr. Nokwasa, just a quick one before I come to him, because he hasn't spoken for a while. Now, because I was trying to understand, too, when you said, we are lawyers, that's what we do, oppose this or oppose that. You know, yeah.
Yes, but you know that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me put in the question.
Yes,
let me put in the question, Mr. Nokwasa. So now the thing is this. In part of that affidavit, too, that was presented to CSU as part of the lawyers opposing the release of that document, I didn't understand it. Why were they saying it will cost the president irreparable damage? Just a minute, because the document, the same document, is assuming the same document, is already before INEC as a public document.
No, you see.
So if it didn't cause damage there, why would this one cause damage?
No, it's not. Atiku was asking for all kinds of documents that he should not be entitled to.
Is it more than a certificate or diploma?
It is just, excuse me, if I say I want to come, I don't know where you graduated from, and then I say, oh, I want to get your documents. My God, your lawyer would be a pathetic excuse for a lawyer not to try to block me. That's just what we do.
Okay,
I will block you every point of the way.
I know that, in your case too, to prove crime, you lawyers say there must be combined presence of mens rea and actus rea. Now, in this particular case, assuming without considering there was actus rea, where's the mens rea?
Now, let me start by saying that lawyers are social engineers with the duty to build society, not social liars. So when people keep talking and they say things to mislead public and they say, I'm a lawyer, that's what lawyer, they can speak for themselves. That is not what lawyers do. They can speak as an individual, this is what I do, but that is not what lawyers do. Lawyers are not necessarily liars.
Okay.
They don't mislead people. They don't come and intentionally try to block the exposure of crimes. They don't do that.
Would you say
as a minister in the Temple of Justice, you help in the administration of justice.
To the question before
now to your question.
Yeah.
Mens rea, actus rea are established here. Clearly.
How?
You want to contest election. You know that certificate is important to show that you're qualified. You don't have one. In order to mislead, you went and forged one and actually tendered it to mislead, to present yourself as qualified.
I thought they said that there's no mens rea here because the university confirmed that he attended the school.
No. It's not about attending school. It's about the document. Why did you forge the document? The mens rea is the intention. The intention, the criminal intent. The intention is to use the document to mislead. Not necessarily whether he went to the school or not. The intention for creating that document is to mislead.
So why did they say that, presenting this other one if it will be of no moment in law because there
are strict liability offenses that you don't even need to be proving anything. Once you show that the document is forged,
okay.
That's all.
All right, gentlemen, we have to thank both of you for coming on. Silas Onu, member of the PDP, and Justice Tega Onokwasa, lawyer as well, and a member of the APC. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
and all the best to both of you.
That's